watch it. It's settled it for
What a
me.
good movie. When the thing hit, like seriously, they had so much time to avoid all the debris.
Why do you hate space?
Oh, I hate it. I never saw Gravity.
They're up there fixing it. They're like, "Hey, go inside. Debris is coming, about to hit you from another thing that got hit." They're like, "Okay, hold on. Let me finish this one project real quick." And keep on screwing this thing down, and then the debris hits them, and their whole space station blows up. I was like, "Well, that was stupid. Maybe if you'd listened to Houston and gotten inside the little spacecraft, you'd been good."
That's a good point.
I'm just sad that George Clooney died.
Yeah, and then he comes back.
I haven't seen the movie.
George Clooney, the one guy you care about in the movie, dies.
Yeah, apparently Murray's just.
But then he comes back. Then he comes back, and she's dreaming.
Alright, shh, stop. I want to watch the movie somewhere. This thing isn't recording it.
It is.
Sorry, it's okay if you haven't seen it.
Yes, Sarah Kate. She's now ruined Gravity for two of us.
By the way, in Fight Club, actually, she ruined Sixth Sense for me, so I ruined Fight Club for her.
I know how Erin, she likes to ruin books.
Yes, yes.
You ever seen Fight Club?
She does like it. She takes like
Wasn't that
Friday.
eighth grade? Or do you still do that?
Me too.
Oh, ruin a good movie.
I don't care about the Hunger Games. I am reading a book called Unbroken right now.
That one.
Maybe.
It's about I don't know anything about the movie.
Really? You haven't seen the trailer for Unbroken?
Yeah, no, I think maybe different ones.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for it.
Maybe.
It's about a guy who's an Olympic racer. Yeah.
Oh, is that the same one?
I don't know. It's really good. I started all the time. Yes.
Can I borrow your Dietrich Bonhoeffer book?
Yeah, it's really good.
You're gonna read that Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the one that's entitled
I
Bonhoeffer.
read 40 pages of it online, but it wouldn't let me read anymore. I was like,
I know, it's really good. And it's a biography. It's one of the best biographies I've ever read.
As a PDF.
Then again, he's a pretty awesome guy. I mean, he was, a preacher, a spy, tried to overthrow the Nazis.
Oh wait, he's the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy guy.
Tinker
No,
Tailor Soldier
that's
Spy.
not Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Why don't you restart this since I haven't actually done any reviewing?
Because this will be fun to watch.
All right. Sarah Kate, it's good to see you. I'm not really seeing you. Fast forward to 2 minutes and 13 seconds. No,
But she's gonna see it at 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What you just saw.
Why don't you type that on a comment for her to fast forward? So. Anyway, today's review, Dave.
Shouldn't have anything better to do. Should vacation in Italy.
She has had only one day off so far.
Yeah.
She's working.
Yeah, she's been working hard. I don't know.
I know, I was
She's been
kidding.
working hard or not. I'm assuming your sister's probably telling the truth. Anywho, child from all of us here in history class.
A Raver Dorchy.
Anyway.
Correcto.
Alright, we are going to start with our essays. I've been trying to think through how I wanted your essays to look. I've been thinking through how to give you the best format / outline. What I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to give you a very basic outline, and then I'm going to give you some suggestions for the under part, but I'm not going to hold you to them like I usually do. Meaning like you have to do this inside part. I'm just going to kind of try to help direct you a little bit. So your first essay says, explain how the heliocentric view of the universe was so controversial and describe those involved. So first we'll start with the question the question of why is the heliocentric view so controversial? Now this essay is a little more straightforward, a little easier to answer. So we'll start with things like, you want to give the background. You want to give what happened during the scientific revolution. Alright, in background, what am I referring to in the background? What came before the heliocentric?
Ptolemy and Aristotle.
Okay. Aristotle, Ptolemy's view, and the church. Well, you can just Aristotle. Then, of course, you'll want to mention, okay, here's what the scientific revolution put forth. Then you're going to mention
Galileo.
Galileo, but who's the first guy came? You want to mention Copernicus. You may want to wait till, again, I'm giving you kind of some broad outlines. Again, if you've got Copernicus in here, you're okay. You got to have him in here. You may have him here. You may want to put him in the second part. In the second Roman numeral, you want to deal with who was involved. Who was involved and what did they do? So who are the players?
Copernicus.
Okay, so we got Copernicus.
Rahi.
Okay, we've got Brahe and Kepler. We put them together because they kind of led into each other. And they've got Galileo. He obviously, Copernicus, remember, he was the first one to, now the screen is off, is it still recording?
Yeah.
Okay,
As long as the light's on.
the light is on. Copernicus is the first one to put forth the idea of the heliocentric view of the universe. Okay, his book, he published on his deathbed, but these guys came and proved it. Okay, they had all the data and the facts that proved that Copernicus was right, that the sun is in the center of the universe, which actually we know that's not really correct, the center of the solar system. But what other big player do we need to mention here if you're going to talk about why it's controversial? Who made it controversial? There we go, church. Okay. So, if you go through these and explain kind of briefly who they were, what they did.
You got a hair.
I have lots of hair.
You have one.
I have one.
Hey, wait, just do this real quick.
You got no problem.
Oh. Okay. Is it still there?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
It's not going that high. It's just like
Yeah, I don't know.
you put gel. Did you put gel on it?
A little bit, yeah.
Then it looks like it's like it
There you go.
gelled. Oh, you got it. Did you get it?
No, it's still there.
It's like it gelled like
You got
all of
it,
it,
it's fine.
but then like instead of like following the natural grain like all of your hairs did, that one hair just decided to go
Yeah,
out.
rough. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, we've all got them.
So, these are the guys that were the major players. Again, the church, we want to discuss, why the church held to the Aristotelian Ptolemaic model, why they put Galileo in house arrest, why these things happened, and explain what they did. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward, I think. This one should not be, neither of them should be difficult, but this one's a lot less complicated. Okay? Why was it controversial? Who was involved and what did they do? Let me also give you a piece of advice that many of you failed to do last time. Please include an introductory and concluding sentence. Okay, an introductory sentence like, the heliocentric view was controversial because it rocked the notions that the church had formed and it, created something new for people to believe in. There you go, just an introductory sentence. In conclusion, because of the church's strong stance on the Ptolemaic model, the heliocentric view became very controversial, but was, still proved by Galileo and whatever. Okay, just give me an intro and concluding sentence. I will take off.
Took off 5 points.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Thought it was 5 points.
No, I think I took off 2 or 4 points. I think I just took off 2 points.
Oh, maybe it was 2 points for each conclusion and
Maybe. Anyway, I am going to take off some points, like I did last time. Some of you did a great intro, and I was very some of you I was a little, very lenient. It looked kind of like it was an intro sentence. Some of you accidentally put an intro sentence. Make sure that, you pay attention to that. We good on this one? Everybody write this down? Okay? You good on that there, Kate? Good. I can't, on my other videos that I've done, I've always called Sarah Kate out.
On the highlighter, writing with.
Yeah, well, I call her out for talking or something. But now I can't call her out. She's the only one that's not here.
You call out, I don't know.
Feeling a
Call
lot
out
of place.
not being there.
Yeah.
well, don't you call her out when you're not here?
What?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like when you're on the video lecture.
Right.
Yeah,
like when Sarah was in the hospital,
Yeah.
I generally would call
And
out
that
Sarah
fight
Kate.
broke out. Yeah, that was.
Oh, yeah.
It was good
Yeah,
times.
that video.
Good times.
It's still somewhere on YouTube, yeah.
Were those good times? Were those bad times?
Those were bad times. Those were very, very difficult times. Anywho, enlightenment. Okay, this is obviously the more complex. I tried to make a nice outline and ended up looking like, well, not an outline, but looking more like a lot of stuff. So, okay, so let's start with, by the way, it says, explain the Enlightenment and how Newton, or scientists like Newton, were used to justify a deist view of the world. So it's kind of two-part. Your first part is the Enlightenment. You want to make sure you kind of describe the Enlightenment. And then you want to also describe how Newton was involved and how deism came out of that. They don't have to be in that order. Okay, in fact, it's probably going to be easier to write them not in that order. If I were you, I would start with Newton, and I'm going to put et cetera, because obviously there were other scientists. Newton's just kind of the one that they loved the most. And the new view of the world. Now, parentheses here, I'm just going to put a couple of, like, I'm going to call them like buzzwords, just like things you might want to mention. I'm not going to hold you to these buzzwords. These are just kind of things that you might want to touch on, like words like the machine. That's how they describe everything. Words like laws. Words like creator. Natural principles. Okay? So these are kind of like the buzzwords that you're going to want to, when you talk about Newton and the view of the world, you want to talk about how Isaac Newton, by explaining how things work, and of course Galileo's in there too, and Kepler, but by explaining how everything worked, they showed people that the world is just a big machine. Okay, it runs on laws and principles, things that are constant, things that work, like your car. You turn it on, it runs, it works. It has a lot of moving pieces that all work and sync together, and obviously there's a possibility of it breaking down, but if you treat it well, everything will move in an oiled manner. You don't have to understand it all, but once you do understand it all, it's like, oh, that's really cool. Okay? And actually, if you understand how a car operates, you will become a better driver, and you will become a better car owner because you will sense the little sounds and the vibrations and the little things that may be indicating something to you because you understand how it works. If you don't understand how it works, you're like, no, it's just making that old noise, just kick it again, it's okay. You know, you don't understand that, you know, one of the pistons in your engine has gone loose and you're about to blow up your car. So they understood that this world is a bunch of laws, it's natural principles that have been put there by the Creator, and a lot of the guys are going to even boot the idea of a Creator. But it's this idea of there's a big machine. So you want to describe that how the scientific revolution, even though people like Isaac Newton gave credit to God, instead, you know, God is so great to have created all this, he kind of got pulled out. You know, I told you don't have to mention him, but Bernard de Fontenelle, he wrote the kind of astronomy for dummies, and he removed God from all of that. Okay, so from there we go to how did this new view of the world form or encourage deism? Or maybe just how this, you don't have to make it into a question every time, I don't know why I'm doing that. So you want to think, okay, remember deism is, somebody tell me what deism is.
It's like that. There's a God who steps away and watches. Is that the deism?
Yeah, yeah. So think of a clockmaker. Somebody had to create the clock, but once you wind it, you can step away and it does it by itself. That's how they view God. God created everything and then backed away, has no influence on us today, no impact, no relationship, none of that. Okay, so a few things to mention under here. They removed God from everyday life. Now, how were they able to remove God from everyday life?
Like laws and stuff.
Right. They had laws to explain it. They don't need God. They've got natural principles. Okay? So we've got people like Voltaire, Montesquieu, what else did I put in here? Possibly, you could put Fontenelle. Okay, they are removing God from everyday life. Now, not all of these guys removed God completely. Voltaire still said there's a God, but they just removed him from any influence on that. Okay, God's out there way far away, has nothing to do with that. All right, and then we have the idea of life in the machine. How do we live? How do we now live with this knowledge? Since we know, how do we live? And we have, of course, John Locke, who said, I'm obviously not really quoting him, I'm paraphrasing him. John Locke, people are basically good, and society shapes them, and so then let's create a good society and love good people. you can see what I mean by this kind of complicated. But hopefully having all this on here will help direct you. All right, and then the final thing, conclusion. Not really your concluding sentence, but kind of like, so, conclusion, tolerant, nice people with no conviction or need for God. Okay? It's kind of our conclusion of the Enlightenment thought. That's kind of what we're left with.
So it's not America, because we're not tolerant, we're nice people.
Hey.
I don't know. I would say that our country is a fairly tolerant country. You can pretty much, we're not really allowed to criticize people's way of life, people who sin. I mean, to a degree, there are some intolerance, like, radical Islam. We're not tolerant of that. But that's not really because we're intolerant of Muslims. It's because we're intolerant of terrorists. And it kind of leaks over. But I would say we're a fairly tolerant people. We're fairly nice, but obviously not really, good, as in, wholesomely good. But we definitely don't have a need for God in our country. Our country is very clear about the fact that we don't need God. Okay. Questions? Does this not make sense to somebody? Or is there a part that you want me to rephrase or redo?
What do you mean with no conviction?
Meaning, they are tolerant, they're nice, but they don't allow people to follow what they believe. So, Captain, if I was living in that time period as a Christian, as it is actually now, and I can't publicly say homosexuality is wrong. It's wrong to cheat on your wife. It is wrong to cheat on your taxes. Because they would say, no. That's maybe wrong for you, but you can't go project your wrongness on somebody else. You could say you're a Christian, but you can't live like it. Conviction meaning things that you truly are going to stick to. They wouldn't allow you. Again, like in our country, if I am following something from the scriptures, our country is not going to say, man, look at that guy. What a convicted Christian. He is following his beliefs. No, they're going to say, you intolerant mess. You're out there just condemning away all day. This is wrong. That's wrong. Well, actually, it's not condemning as much as it is following a conviction. Does that make sense, Catherine? Okay, so this again, I know that's kind of a messy, but hopefully the detail will help you. Make sure you wrote that all the way down, and then be thinking through. You've got till Monday before we review again. So hopefully by then you'll have looked over it, written it out, and then you'll have more questions for me. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question about the terms?
We're going to go over all the terms,
Okay.
but you can ask me.
Which ones are we getting rid of?
We are getting rid of Adam Smith and Mary Wollstonecraft. Okay.
So we're gonna do bacon?
Brent Bacon, yeah. This is an easy one. Didn't you do this class? Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to give you an entire lecture over him. I'm going to give you the basics about it. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, so let's go over some terms. Go over a few terms. Yes?
What?
I don't know. You over here.
No, I'm good.
This is funny. This book is in front of me. Golden Fleece. Doing this with the 8th grade. And I tell the 8th grade how much of a good guy that Jason is, and how I want all those boys to grow up being just like Jason, having that level of commitment like Jason and the Argonauts had. I just happened to look down and see this on my podium, and it just reminded me to say that.
That's seriously gonna make her irate. That's gonna make her terribly irate.
He's a good guy. I mean, come on. I've got my I Love Jason T-shirt on. I better not right now. Anyway, let's talk about our terms, Nicholas Copernicus. We'll do it in the traditional way. We'll kind of go through them. Hold on. Again, we are removing Adam Smith and Mary Wollstonecraft. I've got to do a better job next year of getting Mary Wollstonecraft in, but Adam Smith, I think he's just going to go bye-bye forever.
Who's Wollstonecraft? What did she do?
She was one of the few female astronomers who was involved in the scientific revolution and
What did she
no,
find
that's Margaret
anyway?
Cavendish. That's Margaret Cavendish. Mary Wollstonecraft. She
Good
hosted Enlightenment thinkers and was involved in
She's in here.
Enlightenment philosophy. Oh, cool. What book is that?
The little brown reader.
Huh. Just like,
Really asked me was about a little black boy.
oh wow.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's the little brown reader.
It sounds like a terribly southern thing to say.
I found it on the shelf. It has a bunch of cool stuff in it by writers.
Like short stories and
It's like
stuff?
a writing textbook kind of.
Like
Why-
little anthologies.
why-
is it
Just
little
read
brown
everything.
readers? Did it used to be like brown or?
Maybe this is not really brown.
No, it's
Maybe it like faded because it's like 30 years old.
Have you
I
ever
found
done
it on my
that?
parents' shelf.
Little brown
Wait,
reader.
why are you reading the equivalent of an encyclopedia?
I read
No,
It's
it's
actually
an
really
anthology,
funny.
a collection of writings.
Yeah, it's actually really funny.
Yeah, no, you'll get them when you go to college. You'll get these guys right here. I'm sure anthologies. They're collections of writing. Now, that one is specific to a certain probably type of writing or style. This is Western literature. Anywho,
Oh, it's a big book.
yes, and they change editions about every 3 years, so you have to buy brand new ones. And these things run. Let's see the price.
Like $200 a piece.
No, it's probably $100 for this stuff.
This one was
Yeah, you need the first semester.
I thought you were gonna pay 20. Wait, how many pages are in there?
How many pages?
Use it for a
It's actually got
semester.
a lot of pages.
That's more pages
It's
than I read my whole life.
2,500. I mean, they're like Bible type pages, like that thin.
This one's like 600.
What is that for? I've read 800 pages.
Well, let me tell you my worst college book buying experience. This is when I was a freshman in Dillon and I bought books brand new. I bought my Italian textbook for $109, and the edition went out right after. So I still got it. Still got
Oh.
it. Refused to sell it. The most I've ever paid for a book.
So you refused to sell it.
Well, they wouldn't. The university wouldn't buy it back because it was one. They just came out with a new edition.
So you have to buy another book?
No, I was able to use it for Italian, but what a lot of times we do is we'll use it and then you'll sell it back when you're done with the classes, and then you can get part of your money. They'll give you like, it's a racket, they'll give you like a third of your money back. But now that Amazon is, Amazon, it's just buy your books and sell them back on Amazon. They have a buyback program. Don't buy your books brand new in college. Just don't do it. You'll pay double if they're brand new, and you get nothing worth.
I feel like they like print it and it says like $20 on the label, and then they grab a sticker gun and like label over it like an extra zero.
Well, and granted, some of them are like massive textbooks. Like I've kept some of mine. But I mean, like I had to, some classes I had, I bought like 5 or 6 books for some classes because you just read a bunch. But yeah, buy them online, buy them from other students that have taken it. Sometimes email professors before classes start and ask, hey, do we actually use the book in your class? Because some textbooks, I would never buy the book until like I'm 2 weeks in. Because, I don't know, buy books if we don't actually ever use it. Anyway, kind of a random little side trip. So Nicholas Copernicus, his dates are 15 to 16. In 1516, he died in 1543. He is, of course, an astronomer. He's from Poland. And his importance is what?
Develop a heliocentric view of the universe.
Yeah, he developed or put forth the heliocentric view of the universe. Questions about him? Okay. Tycho Brahe. He's 16th century. Of course, I told you that even though he lived 1 to 1.5 years in the 17th century, we're not going to give him that. Where was he from?
Denmark. Or Denmark or something.
Yeah, there's a couple. Denmark or Prague, and there may have even been a third place that he was at. What was he? He's an astronomer.
Sir Cooper, Germany.
That's what I had Denmark or Germany, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember what state it was, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't Germany the country back then, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take Germany or Prague or Denmark. Prague's the city, Denmark's the country. What was his importance?
Spent a decade collecting vast astronomical data that are used by scientists.
Yeah, good. He spent a decade collecting vast astronomical data, later used by scientists. And who was the main scientist that used it?
Kepler.
Kepler, right. Wasn't he your guy? And you just brought me, right? Yeah.
Stealing my work.
You gave it to me.
You signed a contract just so you could steal my work.
You can't use it when you're
You
dead.
waited for me to
You
die.
can't use it when you're dead.
All right, Tito and Johannes. calm
Go
down
back to
there.
the nose shop. Gotcha.
Oh, you got you there.
Gotcha.
Anywho.
Let's get it.
Yeah, I get it.
You never see that. All right, Johannes Kepler speaking of the devil. What are his dates?
16th, 17th.
16th, 17th, he's also an astronomer. What is his location? Germany. And what did he...
He stole Brahe's word.
Yeah, it's not as important.
He created the 3 laws
Three
of
laws.
planetary motion.
3 laws of planetary motion are as important. 3 laws of planetary motion.
Dirtbag.
Galileo Galilei. His dates?
16th, 17th.
16th, 17th. He was a...
Astronomer.
Good. Or an astronomer. Or scientist, that's fine. And... Obviously, the difference, by the way, between an astronomer and a scientist. An astronomer is a type of scientist that specifically focuses on the stars. But Galileo was not just an astronomer, he studied all sorts of other things as well. So he can be classified as kind of a broader scope as scientist. Kind of like Isaac Newton. What's his location?
Italy.
Italy, right? Born in Pisa, traveled to Florence, etc. But Italy's good. And his importance?
For sure, he makes systematic observations of the heavens.
By using a telescope to observe the heavens, he proves the heliocentric view.
of the universe.
If you add with the telescope, yours is fine too. Just add with the telescope, because that's what it was.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yes, he used the telescope to study the heavens. It was able to prove the heliocentric view. He was the first European to systematically study the heavens with a telescope. Okay, which is a big deal. We looked at pictures of his telescope, which was I need to get a telescope, by the way, because man, I'm telling you, I can see some cool stuff out where I'm in. Nice.
I go to Jack's house, and you can't see half the stars I wish you could see.
Why?
It's disappointing. I don't know, you just can't see that many stars
Light
out there.
pollution.
Oh, is there a lot of
Light
light?
pollution.
There's really not that
Yeah.
much, though.
See, where I'm at, like, the way our property is, across the street from our property, there's a 30-acre field, it's just an open field, and so we can go out there, and it's like, just, there's nothing blocking your view, and there's probably the closest light is probably half a mile, and it's like one of those little powerful lights.
There are some street lights out
Dark.
Do
there.
not like that.
Oh, I walk it every night, I go out and walk
I hate the
it.
dark.
There are some street lights out there, but it's like, you wish you could see a bunch of stars that's out of Pike Road, and you can't.
Yeah. Well, come out to mine at night, and it's, invited, just don't creep with me.
Invited.
Oh.
Only when you're invited.
I'll be there next
Don't
Tuesday.
come to my house at night, just dropping by. It's not quite set up for dropping by yet. Alright, anyway, let's move on.
Oh, that one, the one in the window?
The one that's like this big around, like a cannon.
So, you talking about a telescope?
Yeah.
Who has one of those?
The Brewbakers?
Yeah, they got our church, and you can see,
Yeah.
you can see like Jupiter's moons with it.
Oh.
Pretty cool.
It's awesome. That would be
It's
cool.
massive. We should get it.
Probably cost a fortune.
Probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind selling it on eBay.
Stealing and selling.
Nah, not stealing it.
Yeah,
Just
you
borrowing
want
it
to
and
thief?
selling it on eBay.
Okay. Isaac Newton. What are his dates?
1718.
17th to 18th. Location?
England.
He was a what?
Scientist.
Mhm.
Wait, so he went to the French Revolution?
What?
Hmm.
You've been playing too much Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
Oh, I thought about you yesterday. There's I think Walmart or Best Buy, somebody has a Black Friday deal. It's like $300 or $350 for an Xbox One and
Assassin's Creed Unity? I know. I told my mom about it today. I think she's gonna go buy it for me for Christmas.
But you go to the black market or to the
Black market?
Black Friday?
No, that deal is the same though. It's like all
Oh man, so she can go
the next couple of weeks is the.
I've never been Black Friday shopping.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
You know, I haven't either, but I think I'm gonna go this year because they have
I'm
this,
going.
8 o'clock at night start.
The minis used to line up at 12 o'clock at night.
I used to go to Best Buy at like 10, stay there till like 1 a.m. and buy all your Christmas gifts in one night.
Well, if any of you go, maybe let me know because I may send you some money to go.
Yeah, we go every year.
Why don't you just come to Best Buy? Why don't you just come to Best Buy?
I don't want to stay up.
Drinking coffee and laughing at y'all.
You be drinking coffee at 1 o'clock in the
Don't be
I'm gonna get like a fight with somebody.
Alright, anyway.
That's the best way to end Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a day of gluttony and eating and desires. We just do what
Sounds like America.
we
Turn
just-
that thanks into that.
we just do what we want on Thanksgiving. We eat all the food that we can and we buy all the things that we can for a ridiculously low amount of money and we hurt people for it.
But do you realize how interesting that is? It's Thanksgiving Day, but it's all about me.
They're buying so they can give.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy all my Christmas gifts.
Right. Alright, anywho, what is the importance of Sir Isaac Newton?
He developed several universal laws including motion and gravity.
What?
Developed some.
He developed several universal laws, including motion and gravity. You said that very fast.
You said that as fast as I've ever heard.
I think we've established it. Or I said it fast. Come on.
You read really
Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes. His dates.
17th century. Hey, he was in the French Revolution.
Did I give you
No,
this?
he wasn't. Never
Yeah,
mind.
I did, didn't I?
Never
That was
mind.
4 years.
He
Sorry.
wasn't in the French Revolution.
He was not in the French Revolution. We're not there yet.
Thanks, Sexton, John Clark.
I can't
his
wait.
location.
Frank.
France. His what?
Philosopher.
Yeah,
Or
philosopher.
a deep thinker.
Deep thinker? Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, he was a deep thinker, right?
Yeah.
Think, therefore. Anyway, what's his importance?
His ideas became basis for Enlightenment philosophy.
Okay, good.
That's what I have.
Good. Hey. Hey, good.
Hey, it's almost like y'all were in the same class together.
What are you copying?
Sir Francis Bacon, let me tell you about Sir Francis Bacon.
Ah.
He's the 16th, 17th century.
Hold on.
Wait, I don't have
Hold on. I only had the word bacon written down.
I don't have the name.
16th, 17th century.
Hold up.
From England? Yep.
17th, 16th.
Yep. From England?
Wait, 16, 17?
Uh-huh.
England.
England scientist.
England.
England.
Scientist.
And his importance, he used and developed, or developed and used, whatever, the scientific method. Please stop quoting.
You sound like the beaver off of Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, or
Or not.
Southern.
you sound like that dude from Winnie the Pooh.
I'm Dan Rather.
Used to develop the scientific method. Remember, the scientific method is, what's the scientific method?
Hypothesis, observe, make calculations.
Yes, it's the hypothesis, observations, you test it, you make conclusions, and you again.
But still,
I
remember
got
that
that
scene where he
right
goes,
now.
Kevin, and he
Yes.
sits there for a minute, he goes, and the steam starts coming out of his ears and I have to pick him up.
I do.
Oh, hilarious.
Unfortunately.
I didn't get it like 4 years ago when I first saw that, and then I grew up and I got it and it cracked me up.
And then I grew up.
Alright, let's move on to Baruch Spinoza. Baruch Spinoza, what is his date?
17.
Wow.
17th century, very good. Location?
Netherlands.
Hollis.
Or Holland, same thing, it's the same thing, okay? The Netherlands and Holland are the exact same
Holland.
place. What was he?
Philosopher.
Yeah, and his importance.
He believed that God was in everything and that one could arrive at truth through reason.
That's not very
He's
interesting.
so excited.
Can you repeat that?
He believed that God was in everything and that one could arrive at truth through reason. And I suppose it wouldn't hurt for somebody to send Sarah Kate their actual photograph of their note cards. Because we're all saying these kind of
Okay.
fast. So.
Yeah, senior one.
She's good.
That was Catherine, by the way. Catherine Schroeder. Alright.
She hears all this. She can just rewind. I'll put little footnotes at the bottom saying where each character is.
No, you
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Buddy.
It would take just
Oh,
one
no.
slide.
So sweet.
Alright.
Maybe I'll just
There's
delete
a
this
tree.
lecture and never
There's a
upload it.
tree.
Somebody's getting an I Love Italia t-shirt.
It'll be awesome. It's like one of the it's like one of the New Yorks, like the I love New York, but instead it's like I love Italia, and I would always say it like that.
Hey, Gertrude told me to tell you to take your kidney medicine.
What?
FYI.
Again, Catherine. Not sure what that was about.
It sounds like a euphemism for like weird stuff.
It does. It's like a code word.
Yeah.
Gertrude said to take your kidney medicine.
Quickly.
Yes.
Let's go with Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal. His dates?
17th century.
17th century. Location?
France.
France.
Yeah.
He was a philosopher. He believed.
Who tried to reconcile reason and Christianity at the time when the two were ever growing apart.
We're ever growing
Okay.
apart.
He tried to reconcile reason and Christianity at a time when the two were growing far apart.
No,
Or
we're
growing
ever,
ever
we're ever
apart.
growing far apart.
Same thing, religion, reason. It's essentially faith and reason, science and Christianity. You know, saying one side is based on the mind, one side based on faith. So you can call it science, reason, logic, and anything that's focused on the mind. The other side is the faith aspect. Okay, that is Blaise Pascal, John Locke. Dates? He'll be our final turn for the day. Isn't he 17 to 18?
She's
I got
17.
7.
You told us
I cut off a few years. That's right. That's right. Because he lived a couple years into the next, but that's right. I did tell you that. He is from where?
England.
He is a what?
A philosopher's plus writer.
Yep. And what did you say?
The people were born good and shaped by their
Good. I mean, correct. All right. That is the conclusion of our first review session.
Yay.
We will continue review on Monday. Please look over your essays over the long weekend. And by long weekend, I mean tomorrow and the weekend. Any questions from any of you? Okay.
I feel like I already had a weekend.
You are free to
It was
go.
awesome.
And two.
You like my background?
Oh, I took this thing.
Yeah, the onion dude. How do I? There we go.
Hello. Hey. Y'all think Mr. Johnson
There's everybody. Wow, we got a weird dance thing going on for Murray. Erin and her little brown book. Ah! Anywho, how do I stop this thing?